This is a nomadic family in the mountains of Iran. Can you believe it? To return from their temporary herding shelter to their fixed residence, they need to traverse mountains and rivers and climb steep cliffs to reach it. Today, let us follow this nomadic family and experience a thrilling and stunning journey. In the morning, Ali's elder wife takes out the cradle, and the younger wife immediately follows, holding out the family's youngest child and placing him in the cradle. This is a temporary shelter they set up for herding. Today, the whole family is going back to their fixed residence. Ali's elder wife ties the child round and round. Watching the later part of the video, we will know why she ties it so securely. The other, slightly smaller child is put into a carrying sling for Ali to carry on his back. Perhaps seeing this, some friends might worry that the sling doesn't look sturdy enough. The child is so heavy. Will he fall out? Actually, there's no need to worry. This sling is made of genuine sheepskin. It is very safe. The younger wife helps Ali pack the child and put him on his back. Ali's two wives have a very good relationship, and they get along harmoniously. Their children range from the youngest, only just over a year old, to the eldest, who is already an adult. There's no need to distinguish whose child is whose. Both wives treat all the children equally. Perhaps friends who follow videos about Iranian nomads know that in a polygamous country like this, there are many conflicts arising from having multiple wives. The phenomena of running away or being driven out of the house are also commonplace. Harmony brings prosperity. Ali is considered very blessed. That is why his family also possesses a huge flock of sheep. This entire area of land belongs to their family. This area is very flat and open. We can see the grassland is also covered with troughs for the sheep to drink water, and next to it is a wide river with abundant water sources. It is truly a uniquely blessed location. Ali drove the sheep out early this morning to graze. Now he has driven them back and secured them in the sheep pen behind the house. After a simple cleanup of some things, they prepare to set off. Ali's mother is old and not suitable for long journeys. She stays here to look after the sheep. Ali takes his two wives and children out. After crossing the flat grassland in front of the door, their journey home truly begins. The first section of the road is relatively easy to walk, only bordered by deep cliffs. The next stretch of the road is not suitable to be described as walking. Climbing is more appropriate. The elder wife carries the baby and walks in front. Her hands are firmly gripping the rock and rope on the side. The younger wife follows closely. Beneath their feet are large rocks of various shapes. One wrong step could result in a disaster for the whole family. It looks very startling. Ali's build is relatively slim, and he is dressed quite nimbly, making him relatively more flexible when climbing this kind of path. He walks at the back, escorting and protecting his two wives from behind. The younger wife is still relatively young and has walked this path less often. Ali also takes extra care of her. He goes first, puts down the child on his back, then comes back to help the younger wife carry the child on her back. The eldest daughter is quite agile. She can completely walk across this cliff independently. After climbing over the cliff face behind, the next section of the road is relatively easier to walk. Although the path is still covered with various stones, it is not as perilous. Ali and his wives can also walk and enjoy the view of the river below and the scenery on the opposite bank. Just after walking a short distance on this relatively easy road, they have to switch back to climbing mode. They first need to climb over this large rock. At this moment, the child lying on the adult's back also needs immense courage, as one wrong move and a cliff is right behind them. The gap between these two large rocks is a bit wide. They walk across, leaning on the single log, which feels like they are flying through the air. Fortunately, there are still some ropes above to hold on to. These auxiliary tools on the mountain roads were installed by the nomads living in this vicinity. There is a saying that goes, There was no road in the world. But as many people walked, it became a road. This is also a legacy left by generations of nomadic ancestors for their descendants. After crossing this mountainside, they need to descend. Walk to the foot of the mountain and then cross another mountain. Walking at the foot of the mountain, the surging sound of the river below is even clearer. The concentrated river water rolls and rushes down, adding a sense of danger. The next spot is considered the most dangerous section of this road, because there is only a tiny crevice underfoot to pass through. They must entirely rely on their hands to hold the rock face and walk past. The elder wife has to carry a cradle, making the difficulty of walking much greater. This cliff is also extremely steep. But for nomadic families who have lived in such an environment since childhood, they do not feel the slightest fear. Walking such a path is just like a piece of cake. The elder wife and daughter quickly passed through skillfully. Ollie also begins to climb down, because carrying the child affects his performance. He has to walk every step cautiously. Watching him step on the suspended log, one truly holds their breath for him. From a distance, we can see the group of people resembling large spiders clinging to the wall, moving slowly. They have reached a downhill section again. Although they have walked so far, the children on the adults' backs are still quite well behaved, not moving around or crying. Now they have walked down to the valley floor. They need to walk towards the other mountain. This valley is very silent, and the pool water is still, giving a sense of deep mystery. The rocks above in this area are difficult to traverse, so they need to pass along the bank. They can only step on the stone gaps under their feet and hold on to the top to pass slowly. In this situation, if one rock underfoot were to break away, they would fall into the water. In this kind of place, the water depth is also an unknown, and the danger level is quite significant. Fortunately, they all relied on their rich experience and passed through successfully. After walking for so long, they are already out of breath, but the sound of the surging, roaring water next to them has drowned out their exhausted breathing. Reaching a flat riverbank, they sit down here to rest and check on the child in the cradle. They open the curtain to let him breathe. After resting and replenishing their strength, they continue forward. This short section of the road ahead follows the riverbank. There is no stress. The road ends ahead, so they have to switch back to climbing mode again. And it is free solo climbing. This rock is also extremely steep, but they do not hesitate at all, bravely climbing upwards. Every step they take demonstrates the tenacity and resilience of the nomadic people. Their hands tightly grip the rock above, and their feet search for stable footholds. The elder wife knows the younger wife is not skilled at walking this kind of path. Walking ahead, she is constantly looking out for her sister. We can see that spring water is seeping from these rocks, and some are covered with moss. One truly fears what the consequence would be if a foot slipped, and they fell down at this point. They pass a fellow nomad's home. The grandmother warmly invites them into the house for some tea and rest, but they refuse. The man says he happens to be going to the village too, so they can go together. Just then, the younger wife's energy is completely depleted. The man helps her carry the child up to this point. This perilous journey has not ended. They still need to climb over mountain after mountain, cross old wooden bridges, and traverse mountains and waters. This road home is full of excitement and challenges. But the more this is the case, the more it highlights the nomad's staunch willpower. After a journey of crossing mountains and rivers and climbing steep cliffs, they finally arrive at the flat path. Having reached here, they are not far from the village where they live, until they see the houses of the village. Their journey home is about to reach its end. Stepping into the village, the atmosphere of daily life here has clearly intensified. Everyone hopes to live a comfortable and easy life, but just like these nomads, for the sake of livelihood, they have to leave their homes. But home will always be the direction we strive for. The end of the ideal. The harbor of our pursuit.